So we talked about hydration, a couple of things on that, a couple of different philosophies. Tim and Mary kind of agree on this. I'm polar opposite on what to do with hydration because I use the hydration bladder and I use the hose. Here's the pros, and I'll let Tim give you the cons. The pros are the water is convenient, I can get to it, I'm going to stay trickle hydrated, okay, and so I'm going to keep, hopefully, myself moist and, and hydrated, keep my hydration up because it's convenient. The negative is?
The negatives are, one, you can't keep real close track of how much you've had to drink during the day. If you got a 3-liter bladder, I don't know if I've had 1 liter to drink, 2 liters, 3 liters, I'm about to go dry. I drink out of bottles. I always know, especially in the desert and the dry climate we're going to be in, I always like to know this is how much hydration I've had. I can watch and tell. And I don't like that nasty hose that gets rolled around in the dirt and mud every time I take my pack off, and it just, I don't know, it doesn't clean. And the last thing is, you can't put anything but water in them, or unless you want to grow a little farm inside your pack. So almost impossible to keep clean. Okay,
and to his counterpoint on the fungus and the biological ecosystem that you will develop in your hydration system if you were to put sugars in there, the mitigation to that is you want to keep not just hydration, but you got to keep electrolytes up. Okay, so Amy and I, we use the hose, the hydration system, and when we want to keep our electrolytes up, we got the powder. Powder goes in our mouth, water goes in our mouth. Wow. We mix it there, swallow it. Nothing's no mess, no muss, no fuss. And I don't have to clean that, but once a year.
You do that with a pack of Kool-Aid.
Well, but the point is, no matter how you do it, when you're out there and we're hiking on this hike, make sure you keep your electrolytes up. Don't drink just water. Mm-hmm. Alternate. Drink a quart of water, quart of some sort of Gatorade or other electrolyte mix, quart of water. And what I do is I start with a bottle like that, and it's like Greg's got there, and it's in my pouch, and it's full of Gatorade, and I start with that. When it's empty, I drink a bottle of water, then I pour some powder in it, refill it, put it right back in my pouch. And I'll use that bottle, I'll use that bottle for a week, but
and then we'll watch the mold grow in it.
Yeah, make sure you don't drink all electrolyte drinks and don't drink all water. Do some alternating there to keep your electrolytes up, or you'll start to cramp. Almost anytime somebody cramps and you start asking what's going on, you realize they've had nothing but water since breakfast. Then just make sure you do that.
So some pros and cons, what's right, what's wrong, what's right is right for you. So that's why you put your best plan together, hit the trail, try it out, see what you learn from it. So I've been using these for decades, and I'm very happy he's been doing his deal.
No matter what you do, make sure you have your water accessible so you don't have to take your pack off or reach around. It's got to be accessible.
The things you need, blister, blister kit, ibuprofen, water, snacks, whatever's essential. Don't, get that handy. I like using my lid as a fanny pack. So you'll see that's where it rides for me. And here's where I've got my essential stuff, my quick access stuff is rides right there. Okay.
So that is one point, just to stop for a second. I carry a real heavy camera, and I carry it, in a pouch I put on the front of my waist belt. He carries it in a fanny belt. That stuff's not convenient to put on. It just isn't. But you will find 5 pounds carried here off the front of your belt is a lot easier to carry than 5 more pounds in your pack. The balance of it is just different.
The balance.
Now you have to work with it because it's kind of goofy. You have to work with it to get it to fit you, so that you can do it well. But the balance is better if you carry a little bit in the front.
Right. And like I said, cameras, accessible things handy there. So, okay, so we talked about the hydration, different models between bottles and hydration.
Show me your platypus.
Was it? Oh, yeah. Now that's the water you're going to drink. Now the other options there is storing water. You can. So here's the platypus bottles here. So if you've got those in there in your pack, you can use these. You can use the hard bottles. The Gatorade bottles work just fine. But I don't go just out with these only. I want to have a hard container because I get pinhole in this and it's history.
If you find out if you're carrying, let's say you need to carry 2 gallons of water, and you put it in Nalgene bottles, you get all those Nalgene bottles, empty them, completely empty, and put them on a scale, you'll have over a pound of bottles. And a pound's a lot of weight in a backpack.
And
they add up.
And it's a lot of fixed volume, right?
Yeah, they don't pack well.
So
the platypuses, Big advantages of them is you can slide it right down against your back in the hydration bladder. They conform to your back. They don't hurt your back. They don't poke or prod or point you. They're very soft, and when you're done with them, you roll them up and they don't take you space.
Just pass along those platypus are in the Liberty Mountain, so we can get those.
And they're tough.
They're
I've had
Very,
them all.
very reliable. Had some pinhole leaks before, but
I've never had a leak in one of mine.
I'm rough on gear.
Yeah.
All right, then getting water. So, you know, you're going to pack some water when you get dropped off on top of the ridge. You're going to make it to base camp. But, well, I guess logistically, we'll work together and see as far as, you know, some assignments as far as rig teams, support teams, and who's going to bring how many hydration systems, you know, so filtering water. A couple of different schools of thought on that, and I've used both. I've used iodine, and that works great. Just a little bottle. Problem is, it's kind of a low volume option because it's great for an individual, but if you're trying to cover a support group, it's not good. These are good for high volume. So, you know, if we had 2 of these on top and enough, you know, people that were familiar with them to make sure that they could shuttle and do hydration runs back and forth, you know, really the only thing people are going to have to carry from getting to the drop-off point to the base camp is really the water to get them from point A to point B, and then we could have you know, hydration duty for the folks that are on top just to run water back and forth.
Yeah, we plan on having, you know, collapsible water jugs
Okay.
that people take
Yeah.
a break, go get your,
Right, so, you know, somebody has the duty, they take this, they take several of these, they take an empty pack,
Mhm.
you know, they go pump water, get the skeeter bed all over the place, and then they bring back the water, you know. So then and then we hang these up, have water bladders there. So not, I guess the point was this morning was, everybody doesn't have to run out and get one of these. Well, Mary's got, you use Sweetwater too? Yeah. All right, so Mary, Tim,
I've got one too.
So
Yeah.
probably nothing that anybody has to run out and buy, because we'll have enough for the support, you know, team to have up there. So getting the water, making the water available. So now we're going to talk about food. And now food, and we kind of threw this out too, you know, in this scenario, if we're going for a 5-6 day long hike, you know, we're going to have some pretty good logistics on food. You want some variety a little bit. But food could be as easy if you're going to do 48 hours, basically. Think about 48 hours of getting dropped off. You got a day for the hike, you got an overnight stay. The next morning, sometime during the day, you're going to clip on and drop to the ground with your pack. That's a scenario for several folks, right?
36.
Yeah, so a lot of folks are just going to be, you know, 48-hour time frame. So, I mean, you know, if they want, I mean, it would be something to throw out on the table. I mean, they can do, if they're willing, they can do cold food. We could just have just the dehydrated foods up there, and really they just bring those up, and we have, you know, station stoves, kind of like we're going to have station hydration packs, and, you know, somebody's job or whatever is just to boil water and dump it into bags, because Amy and I, we go out, we'll take that Mountain House bag of spaghetti, you know, and the only thing we use is a pot. And sometimes, and we share a spoon. Sometimes we don't even need the spoon, because we got a stove, we got our water, the pot goes on there.
I take my own spoon. I'm a little delicate that way. I like to take my own spoon.
But here's how you can do it with no spoon, because you can eat your granola, you can eat your cold foods and stuff. And so now there's the pot filled with water. There's the pot holder, goes on the stove, boiling the water. While that's just boiling, I'm opening up the pack. I'm taking the little, you know, the salt thing, whatever the little packet is, to keep the water out of it. Putting that aside, getting that set up. This boils, pours it in, and I go a little heavy on the water. Mine's always a little soupy. So that goes in, zip it up, shake it up, put this back on, water goes back in. Here, this is tea, coffee, or if I just want to have warm water, if I want cold water, it's off. So that's my dish. My dish is never dirty. My dish is never gooey. I never wash anything. And then if that's going with the hot water and my drink, then there's my Huggy, there's my lid. So that's my drink. And then when I get my food, I get it opened up, and if it's just me and I slosh it around, I mean, it pours. I mean, I just, you know, slurp it in there. And then I take some more water, pour it in there, shake it up, clean off the package, drink that in there, and now I've got a garbage bag. And that's it, because now all my little wrappers with my granola bars and stuff shoves in there, collapse it down, Ziploc. Now I've got a little Ziploc for my bear bag, and that's it. And I don't have dishes or anything like that. So that's one version, if anybody's comfortable with it, you know. But, you know, you can spoon it out and have the spoon and shove the spoon in the bear bag and all that stuff too. It's just whatever you want to, whatever we can work out logistically. And that's, you know, and that works real well for Amy and I. We're kind of, we're agreeable to that because it just keeps things simpler. Because 48-hour time frame, plenty of time to eat, you know, the gourmet meal down at the bottom of the valley for 3 times the price later. So that's water, food, and then shelter. Okay. All right. You pass that around. That's a 2-person tent. So that's one option you could have. And I think we probably want to talk about the logistics there, because this is, what kind of precipitation are we expecting on El Cap?
Well, expecting dry, but if it does rain, it rains.
It's crazy.
It's
Okay.
runoff.
Okay. So there's one option. Okay. The other option there is a tarp and a sleeping bag, because the temperature at night is going to be,
Upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
okay,
Maybe 40s in July.
yeah, in July. So that's what I was thinking, because you know, you can take a, you know, from a minimalist standpoint, you take your bedroll, you take your tarp, you take your sleeping bag, 40-degree bag, and then you're done. And you can make your life a lot easier, especially it's just one night. If you're doing the hike out, get enough sleep to be able to do the drop. And that's going to be a lot less weight, a lot less things you have to deal with in your pack when you tether that thing to your rappel rack and do the drop, and not have to have this as weight that you're going to have to deal with there.
How much does a tent weigh?
Well, if you go on, I think this one is under 3. Yeah, this one's under 3. It's under, I think it's pretty sure it's under 3. No?
Oh,
Under 4? Okay. There we go.
there you go.
I'm guessing closer to 5, but that's fine.
Let's see.
And when they do the weight, do they include the stakes?
4.5.
4.5. Okay.
Bart gets surprised.
You know why? Because I lift newborn babies all the time.
Oh, there we go. So
Inside
there's
knowledge.
some weight you can save, and I think Big Angus makes a lighter weight 2-person.
But you could split that.
But with-
Big Agnes, not Big
Big
Angus.
anus?
Oh, sorry. There we go. Big Angus.
But you can split that between a hiking partner. They carry the poles, you carry the rest of it.
Yep. See, yeah, this is another 2-person tent. This is Amy's, and then I've got another stuff sack that's basically got. There we go. So yes, you can split it between 2-person. So here's Amy's, here's mine, and I get the poles. So that, yeah, you can split it between 2 people.
But not everybody's gonna be toting a tent up there.
Yeah. So there's another logistics to try to
Yeah.
figure out, because you know,
There, in the past, there's been 4
Share.
or 5 tents up there, and everybody most of the time takes their own bag, sleeping bag kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But there's even some team sleeping bags up top, so we'll get on those.
get some
details later.
logistics there. So then so that's got your sleeping options, and you know the weather's a big deal on picking out your sleeping bag. And then we already talked about, you know, the sleeping bag going down to the bottom there of your pack. So I've drank stuff, I've ate stuff, I've slept in things, and now, you know, that's some of the basics. We're going to talk about blisters. Okay, blisters. You know, the only way you're going to find out if the shoes that you're wearing are going to work for you with 30 to 40 pounds on your back is to put 30, 40 pounds on your back and go out and get the miles on those shoes. Okay, you can't just put them on and go to work or go play around at the park or whatever. That's not the right weight distribution. So you really got to put weight on your back and the shoes on your feet and go out and do the hike up and down the stuff. So it's the test by doing it. Testing it in the field is how you're going to figure out if that's going to work. And you're going to get blisters, and then you're going to get calluses, and then you're going to be good. Okay, that's the way it kind of works. Or you get another pair of shoes, and maybe this will be better. But you won't know unless you go out and do stuff. formula for disaster is to see somebody on the trail with new gear. That's just.
A couple things about, if you're gonna carry that much weight, especially if you're gonna be on a rig team and carry a lot of weight, a light hiker will not do. You've gotta get a full-blown hiking boot with a steel shank in it to distribute and carry that much weight on your feet. Otherwise, it's gonna smash your arch out and you'll be limping. It's just too much weight over what your body's usually, accustomed to carrying. The other thing I was telling this to Larry a couple weeks ago is I had a pair, and you guys, probably some of you see me wear them. I had a pair of black pants that I was wearing. I wore them to Ram's Head a couple days. I wore them warmed the bridge on Friday all day. Pants were comfortable. They were great. I really enjoyed them. And I took my Boy Scouts on a 6-mile hike a couple weeks ago, and I wore those pants. Well, I'd worn them doing rappelling stuff all day long and thought they were great. I found out on a 6-mile hike, by the time I got back, they'd rubbed me raw. Okay? So just because you have a garment you think is comfortable doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable when you hike 10 miles out to El Cap. You have to hike in it to find out.
Right. So,
And
yeah,
90-degree heat.
In 90-degree heat, it will make a difference.
test it in the field. Get some miles under your belt, and then.
And that's the other thing, you can't just hike once and expect to be ready to do this backpack. You're not gonna do the rappel if you can't make the hike. So to get ready for a big backpack, I usually start a month ahead of time and hike 2 or 3 times a week and build up the weight. I start with like 25 and then get up to 30 and 35. You can't just one day put on a 50-pound pack and expect to hike 10 miles. Or at least I can't. Some of you younger people might be able to, but you gotta build up to it.
Yeah. And another point there, as far as going out and testing, if you want to come out to any of the parks and do a trail, and you think, okay, I'm gonna chuck 30 pounds in the pack, and I want to hit the trail, and you get out, say it's a 6-mile loop, you get out 2 miles out there, and you're very unhappy. Make up your weight with ballast. Just basically take jugs of water. All right. So Amy and I will just chuck, like big juice containers or whatever, and with water, it's like, oh, I'm miserable. We just chuck the water out, leave the container in, and keep on hiking. So, you practice with some ballast. It works. And then
I was telling Larry, one of my tricks for that is I take like a 150-foot rope and just stuff it in the bag loose, and then put the water in the bag. That way I can put the water where I want it, and the pack keeps its shape. As opposed to if you just start chucking gallon jugs in there, it's all gonna be in the bottle.
yeah,
Right,
so you have to put some filler in there too for the pack. Stoves. This is used as white gas, Coleman fuel. It's a whisper light. It's great for boiling water, and that's about it. But I don't know if that's basically going to be the function of the stoves, is just boil water, get it hot for the food. So, we had 2 of these up on top. I mean, really, that's all you'd ever need is 2 of those. So, that's one option for it. There's canisters, but then you're dealing with empty canisters. The volume's good on that. The alcohol stoves boils water real well too, and that's real simple and real lightweight.
No moving parts.
No moving parts. Tim and Mary, big proponents for that. I've got an alcohol stove. I'm for it, but I already have this. So this really cranks out the BTUs.
That cooks faster.
This cooks faster, and I'm always cooking. Amy and I are cooking together, so
And
a
it's
little more volume.
Especially with the combustible things, even the stoves, they're going to have to go on the trailer to get out there, and we'll buy white fuel once we get out to
You gotta find
California.
the fuel there.
Yeah.
You
Now,
can take the stoves on the plane, but you can't take the fuel and
Can't
get
take
your all
the,
cleaned
can't
out.
take the fuel bottles on.
well,
You can.
we do.
Y'all think they're new, can't you?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
If you clean them out and wash them out, now the key to it is uncap the bottle. If the bottle is in your luggage and it's capped, they're gonna pitch it. Okay, it's got to be open and it's got to be clean.
Yeah, numerous flights with an empty, rinsed, and honestly, you smell it. It doesn't smell any hydrocarbon or anything. So
Right.
it's in there. I've not lost one yet. So
But if you like take one with the pump in it, and screw the pump in, and toss it in there, they'll take that. It's gone. If it's closed, or even if it has water in it, doesn't matter what it has. If it has fluid in it or it's capped, they'll throw it out. But if you put it in there uncapped and clean, not a problem.
yeah.
But that being said, if you got a trailer going out, there's no reason not just chuck it in the trailer and not have to worry about it.
All right. Okay, so we've drank, we've ate, we've cooked, we've slept. Questions? We talked about blisters. Okay, summary again. Somebody tell me, how do you know if it's going to work?
Oh, I know what you did.
You do it.
You do it. You do it under the right conditions. What did you leave out?
What you left out is, when you start out there and you're hiking out there, I don't care if you've gone 5 feet, if you've gone a mile, if you've gone 5 miles, if you start to feel a warm spot on your foot, what does a warm spot on your foot never do, Don?
Go without attention immediately.
No, but what does it never do?
Oh, it never heals itself.
It never gets
It never
better.
gets better.
It will not get better. It will progressively get worse.
We will have testimony this evening from Jody.
Yes. Immediately, as soon as you start feeling a warm spot, stop and put some tape or a Band-Aid or moleskin or something on before it gets worse. Don't wait till you got a big old blister, because it will blister. It won't get better. It will continuously get worse. So as soon as you feel that spot warming up on your foot, stop and address it.
So the first aid deal, I mean, this is not what I take.
I was starting to say,
this is what- But this is what I bought basically to have supplies. So that'll be another thing to try to figure out. I mean, I know we're going to be treating a lot of blisters. We're going to be treating a lot of sun exposure, sunburn stuff. So chapstick and stuff like that's going to be a big deal in the rock. But
Got some antidepressants.
oh yeah, that's what those are. So anyway, so we want to try to figure that out. And then we talked about the sleeping bag and what kind of your options there. Is anybody yet to buy a sleeping pad? Has everybody bought their sleeping pad? You need to buy a sleeping pad. Wait a minute, you got them, right?
I got them, but I wanted to make sure I got the right one. That's why I haven't bought anything until after
Okay.
today.
All right. Well, all right. So you got there's three options. There's the one option that I don't have an example of, which is like the foam tartan eggshell type stuff, and that works, but it's always going to be that same volume. Okay. It's not the weight of it so much as the volume.
If you're a side sleeper, forget it. Which I am.
Okay, and then there's the self-inflating Therm-a-Rest or Therm-a-Rest type, which is this deal. Used these for years, they work great. They're heavier, okay? And then there's the current Therm-a-Rest version, which is not self-inflating. This is 30 breaths, and this is much lighter, and it's really comfortable. I mean, it's like the kind of the dial, what's the bed that you dial the number?
Sleep
number.
number.
Sleep number bed. It's basically, you just put the right amount of air in there to where you're happy, and there you go. So
It is not like an inflatable mattress from Walmart. When you go to REI, you look at that thing and go, that is nuts. I'll go buy the inflatable mattress. No, it is not the same.
the insulation properties and the weight properties and the durability properties are much better.
The tubes are cross tubes instead of lengthwise tubes. Like the ones from Walmart, I can't sleep on. I'll get my back will hurt. That one,
I sleep as well in this as I do my regular.
I
bed.
couldn't believe I paid that much for a
What's that?
stinking pad. But
This
oh
is
my
a
goodness.
Therm-a-Rest. This is a Neo.
Therm-a-Rest is a brand.
Therm-a-Rest is a brand, is a
Okay.
manufacturer. So they've got all kinds of models. Was that?
How much does that cost?
This was 120.
Okay.
This
I'm telling you, I couldn't believe I paid that for a sleeping pad until I slept on it at night. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
and then they make and women sleep colder. So they make a green one that's got more
It's
insulating.
11 ounces.
It's more insulated.
These will be a little over a pound. These will be like £1.3 or something, and that's 11 ounces.
So,
And it's more comfortable.
so you can just dial it in. If you want it real firm, just pump it up. And you want soft and smushy, you just let the air out. And stuff. Oh yeah, you can drag it out.
You got time to watch for sales. I got mine on sale at Cabela's for like $60 a couple years ago. And then Sportsman's Warehouse actually had them on sale in Lexington a couple weeks ago.
So that's 30 breaths. So after your long day of hiking and pumping water and getting mosquito bit, setting up the tent, and in the rain, now you can go spend 30. Get it high. That's how you get high.
All these manufacturers come up with real gimmicky gear that really doesn't live up to its advertisement billing. That does. It's a gimmicky piece of gear that actually works.
And I got it out and I'm like, oh, this is a disaster. It's going to have one pinprick and I'm going to be disaster. But it's holding up.
Been all over.
So that's bedroll options.
Around you are. So I think you can figure that out pretty well on your own.
Right. And then another comment on the waist belt, and this depends, really depends on what you bought. Because everybody, you buy your backpack, you go online and pull off the PDF of the specific instructions. So, like, for example, on this pack, for it to really work right, they always say, it's bright red, they say, hey, make sure you always connect this, because what this does is this brings part of the suspension up on the back side and ties it in to the front of the pack. And so I'm always supposed to make sure I torque that down. And honestly, when I don't, I can feel it, and when I do, I can tell the difference. It really helps the balance and the security and that compression of it. You know, you guys may not or may have that same feature in there. So there's some specifics to backpacks, whether it's a Kelty or an Osprey or a North Face or whatever, that are, you need to kind of read the PDF, read the instructions there. But on that hip belt, one thing about these are, for this particular brand, they market that they can contour their belt to your specific hip structure by having you come in the store. They disengage the belt altogether, they throw it in a little heater, they throw it on you while it's hot, and you walk around for 20 minutes, and it's supposed to conform to your particular shape. No matter whose belt or backpack you got, if you go out and do 6 or 7 miles, 2 or 3 days in a row, or what have you, get some miles in, it'll work out that way. It'll conform to you, you'll conform to it, and that'll all come together, once again, by putting your best effort into packing your pack and getting out and using it. And it'll rub you into submission, and you can rub it into submission, see who wins. So that height adjustment, most of the packs, small, medium, large, make sure you got the right torso, right size, and then that'll cover some span, and then we'll try to tune in that span for you there, and then we'll help you with the torquing and the tweaking of the pack. So that's loading the pack, putting the pack on, and now I think we're going to talk about stuff.